Once you've completed your federal tax return using direct file from the IRS, you can go directly to Mass Connect to complete your Massachusetts state tax return. You will be asked only for the information required for you to receive tax benefits that you are eligible for and entitled to. Once you've completed your federal tax return using direct file from the IRS, you will be directed to Mass Connect to complete your Massachusetts state tax return. If you have a logon credentials for Mass Connect, select Login. If not, choose Sign Up to create a logon. After you log in, you will be directed to your 2024 Personal Income Tax Form 1 to start filing your return. The answers have pre-filled as yes since you filed with direct file. Select Next to move forward and import your federal tax return data. Select Import Federal Tax Return Information to import the information you entered on your federal return. You will then be redirected to the IRS website to choose Transfer My 2024 Federal Return to Mass Connect to import the data to your state return. If your federal return indicates submitted status instead of accepted status, you will be given a warning that you may have to amend your Massachusetts return if you import the data before it is accepted. You will receive emails from IRS Direct File when your federal return has been submitted and then accepted. If your IRS return status is rejected, you will need to correct errors on your federal return before you can import the federal data to your state return in Mass Connect. We recommend waiting until your federal return is accepted by the IRS before completing your Massachusetts return to minimize the chance of having to file an amended return. After choosing Transfer My 2024 Federal Return to Mass Connect, your federal data will be transferred to your 2024 Massachusetts state tax return. Confirm that your information is correct and select Next. Update your name if needed. Verify address, select Next to continue. Check that your spouse's name, social security number, and date of birth have been imported. Select Update my spouse's name if needed. Select Next to continue. Review your and your spouse's ID information. Enter additional information to help with processing of your return. This is optional. Select Next to continue. The digital assets question is already pre-selected as no. Answer the remaining questions and select Next to continue. Dependent names, SSNs, date of birth, dependent relationship, and whether they qualify for EITC is imported from direct file. You must indicate if dependents are disabled. Select Next to continue. Review the exemption screen. Select Next to continue. W-2 information entered on the federal return will import here. You may select each W-2 to review. When review is complete, select Next to continue. You may make changes to state wages, box 16, and state withholdings, box 17, only on the imported W-2s. The W-2 may not be deleted. Select OK, then select Next to continue. The unemployment compensation amount entered on the federal direct file return will populate on the top line, Unemployment Compensation. You can add 1099-Gs to the 1099-G table by selecting the Add a 1099-G link. The amount you entered must equal the amount you reported on the direct file return before you can continue. Select Next. Enter information on the 1099-G and select Add. Select Next. The 1099-Gs that were added will now be reflected on the second line, Amount of Unemployment Compensation from 1099-G table. Your amounts must match what you filed in direct file before moving on. Select Add. Review 1099-G information imported from direct file and add additional 1099-Gs, if any. Select Next to continue. 1099-R information entered on the federal return will import here. You may select 1099-R to review. After reviewing your 1099-R information, select OK to proceed. When review is complete, select Next to continue. Review your taxable pensions and annuities and add any amounts exempt under Massachusetts law. Select Next to continue. Withholding amounts will reflect W-2 and 1099 information imported from direct file. Select Next and Continue. Select Yes or No to the Massachusetts Bank Interest question. Select Next. If yes, enter your Massachusetts Bank interest amount. Your total amount of interest income reported on your federal return will be indicated on your Massachusetts Bank interest received line. Select Next. Select Yes or No on Additional Income section. If yes, complete the Schedule X. Review income and select Next. Schedule Y is automatically selected only if health savings account deduction, educator expenses, and/or student loan interest is claimed on your federal return. Health savings account deductions, student loan interest, and educator expenses reported on your federal return will be imported to Schedule Y. Select Next to continue. Answer the deduction questions and input your total amount of rent paid if applicable. Select Next to continue. If applicable, enter the amounts paid by you and your spouse for commuter deduction expenses. Your total deduction is calculated and imported into Schedule Y. Select Next to continue. If you select college tuition deduction, enter information and the college tuition deduction amount will be calculated. If you qualify, the calculated college tuition deduction amount will transfer to Schedule Y. Select Next to continue. Enter amount paid to Social Security from W-2s for you and your spouse. The maximum allowed is $2,000. If you enter an amount greater than $2,000, it will automatically change to $2,000. Health savings account reported on Federal Direct File, import to line 8. Educator expenses reported on Federal Direct File, import to line 9A. Student loan interest reported on your federal return imports to line 10. College tuition deduction, contributions to prepaid college tuition, and commuter deduction will populate to the appropriate lines from amounts you entered on previous screens. Select Next to continue. Rental deduction populates from the previous amount you entered for total rent paid in 2024. Social Security is pre-populated with calculated amounts based on the W-2 information. Select Next to continue. If you reported interest income on your federal return, Schedule B is automatically selected as Yes and cannot be changed. Make additional selections and select Next. Total interest income reported on your federal return will be imported to Schedule B. The amount of Massachusetts bank interest that was reported on the previous screen will populate on line 5. Select Next to continue. Schedule B is automatically selected only if you indicated you had interest income on your direct file return. Total interest income imports from direct file to line 1, and Massachusetts bank interest income populates from what you entered on the previous screen. If you have Massachusetts carryover losses from Schedule D that you are using against non-Massachusetts bank interest, you must select Schedule D on prior screens. Choose Next. Review your Schedule B income. Select Next to continue. If you have carry forward long-term losses to apply against interest, you will need to fill out Schedule D first and then return to Schedule B to enter long-term losses applied against interest. This requires going back to the additional income screen and answering yes to the fourth question of, are you reporting any long-term capital gains and losses? You will then be able to enter the losses on Schedule D as well as the amount you want to use to offset the interest income on Schedule B. You will then need to go back to Schedule B and enter the same amount on line 32 of Schedule B. Select Next to continue. Select Yes or No to the credit recapture question. Select Next. Select Yes or No if you want to pay the 5.85% tax rate. Select Next to continue. Select the appropriate answer and enter health insurance information in subsequent screens. Select Next to continue. Select Yes or No to the CMS schedule for other non-refundable credits question. If yes, complete Schedule CMS with applicable non-refundable credits received. Select Next. Select Yes or No to the CMS schedule for other refundable credits question. If yes, complete Schedule CMS with applicable refundable credits received. Select Next. Federal Earned Income Credit information will import from your federal return and 40% is calculated. And child and family tax credits populate depending on dependent information that was entered. Select Next to continue. If you qualified for circuit breaker credit and completed the information, that information will automatically be entered here. Select Next. Select Yes or No. If you select Yes, select which fund and how much you want to contribute. Choose Next to continue. Information on credits and withholding will automatically populate from information entered previously. Enter use tax, previous year overpayment, estimated payments, and extension payments. Total payments and credits will include refundable credit amounts based on information entered previously, such as earned income credit, child and family tax credit, and/or circuit breaker credit. Select Next to continue. Choose Refund Preferences and enter the required information. Select Next to continue. Select Yes or No to the Taxpayer Disclosure Statement question. If you select Yes, select to add a record and complete the schedule. Choose Next to continue. Select Yes or No to the non-debtor spouse claim and allocation for refund due question. If you select Yes, proceed to complete Form M8379 on the next step. Choose Next to continue. Confirm information and select Submit to submit your completed return. A confirmation number is provided once you select Submit. You can print the confirmation page by selecting Print Confirmation and select OK to exit.